Minglava and welcome to Myanmar Radio's Myanmar Today. I am Akajo. Today we are reports on waterway transport develops more passenger safety, including health. 87% of all the infected patients on road recovery. MOFCOM Scholarship 2020 holds graduation ceremony. MoNREC to help those wishing to breed crocodiles on commercial scale. All of that on this edition of Myanmar Today, but for now, let's take a look at what's happening in local news. Government honored the top taxpayers of the country for 2018 and 2019 tax year yesterday. President U Win Myint attended the ceremony held at the Presidential Palace in Naypyidaw and presented awards to the outstanding taxpayers for income tax, commercial tax, and specific goods tax. In delivering a speech at the ceremony, the president said, quote, "The government annually issues the top 1,000 taxpayers to promote tax awareness and tax culture. The government has adopted economic policies to bring about people-centered, inclusive, and sustainable development. The policies include laws, rules, and regulations to protect the rights and property of the people by establishing a fair and beneficial tax system for increasing national revenue, as it is necessary for the development of the country and for the functions of the administrative sector, instead of relying on natural resources and foreign loans. Taxation is more appropriate for the stability of the macroeconomy and economic development." Myanmar can export about 100,000 tons of black beans out of 400,000 tons to India by August end deadline that is set by Chair U Minko U of Myanmar Pulses Beans and Sesame Seeds Merchant Association. India rapidly changed the import period of black bean to 3 months by August end 2020 from the earliest set deadline of March 2021 as per their official notice. Myanmar can ship about 100,000 tons as India suddenly narrowed the import deadline for the entire quarter of 400,000 tons to a shorter period. A total of 1,436 tons for a state oil reserve are to be stored in the warehouses of Mandalay, according to the Regional Department of Consumer Affairs. Head of Regional Department of Consumer Affairs said, quote, "The townships had been selected for the storage of oil after checking the security of the warehouses in the region. The oil reserve scheme is for emergency case during the coronavirus pandemic. Therefore, the state is buying 12,000 tons of oil in cooperation with the relevant departments, oil millers, and traders. Mandalay is allotted 1,436 tons of oil reserves." That's all with the local news. Now we'll move on to our first report. The Inland Water Transport IWT is providing better services for the safety of the passengers, including health safety. It is managing the port with more manpower, and as for the health instructions, the necessary measures against the COVID-19 are being carried out, such as placing basins with soap. The number of passengers using waterway transport is increasing gradually. Tora Suizin, Zueman, Yenai have more.
The Inland Water Transport IWT is placing emphasis on safety of the passengers during the rainy season, and it is now to have additional health safety measures as part of preventive measures against the spread of the COVID-19. During the outbreak of COVID-19, the number of passengers using waterway dropped. However, the number is gradually increasing again after the period of danger when the workplaces are reopened and some of the restrictions are relaxed. Along with the bus transportation, waterway transport also plays an important role for the people residing from the other bank of Yangon River to come to the downtown of Yangon. Dodi Dimian is Dalat Township Manager of Inland Water Transport, and she added more information.
For ensuring
the safety of the passengers and fitness of the ferries, we have reinforced the skillful manpower in waterway and machineries. The supervisor is leading the team to make sure of the fitness of the ferries and the safety of the passengers. The supervisor and other staffs stand by for the port to manage the getting on and off of the passengers. They alert the passengers not to jump in and out of the ferries, to get off the ferries only after it has completely stopped. For their health safety, we have placed basins with soaps, and we request the passengers to wash hands and wear masks. When the ferries have finished sailing at night, we clean the ferries with antibacterial, and the ticket counter is disinfected as well. The passengers have to cooperate with us so that we can serve the safe trip.
2 ferries run in a day, each of which provides 46 runs. The ferries carry lifeboats, life jackets more than the capacity of the passengers. Myanmar is the captain of Cherry Ferry number 1, and he also said,
We
announced necessary measures with hand speakers for the passengers to follow when the ferries are crossing from one side to other. We have 56 lifeboats, each of which can carry a maximum of 22 persons. We have 1,200 life jackets. We have more safety equipment more than the capacity of the passengers. We do not carry more than the passenger capacity. Although the ferry can carry 1,200 passengers, there are only around 400 to 500 due to the outbreak of COVID-19. During the rainy season, we have to pay attention to the weather situation.
In Yangon, the public transportation cannot give the chance for proper social distancing, so that the passengers should follow the health measures such as wearing masks, washing hands, but they are still weak in doing so.
During the
outbreak of COVID-19, we request the passengers to definitely wear masks since most are careless about wearing masks. This disease is not over yet in the world. We appreciate the effort of the government to be able to control the local transmission in our country, but we have to notice that the disease has not disappeared yet.
Waterway is the important transportation for the people from the La Township working in Yangon, as well as for the people from Delta areas to travel to Yangon.
It is easy and does not take much longer to ride on the ferry, since the ferry leaves every 15 minutes. However, I don't feel like the normal situation like before the outbreak of COVID-19. I make sure not to forget to wear masks every time I go outside and use public transportation.
During the outbreak of COVID-19, the passengers using waterway to go to Yangon from the La Township were about 5,000 in a day, and this number has sharply increased at the current time because of the opening of workplaces and the realization of preventive measures. At present, about 12,000 passengers use waterway to go to Yangon from the La in a day.
That's a report on waterway transport developing more passenger safety, including health. According to the data from the Ministry of Health and Sports, no local transmission has been found in the country since the 17th of July to the 9th of August. Until 9th of August, Myanmar has reported 161 local transmission cases since March. Many neighbor countries and other countries which have a lot of population have faced second wave infections seriously these days. The global COVID-19 infections are up to 20 million people. Pomo has more.
Myanmar has reported no local transmission cases of COVID-19 for a month, while all the new cases are found among the returnees from the overseas, but the government remains on alert. According to the data from the Ministry of Health and Sports, no local transmission has been found out in the country since 17th of July to 9th of August. Until the 9th of August, Myanmar has reported 161 locally transmitted cases since March. Dr. Danaiso, director of the Health Knowledge Promotion Division from the Ministry of Health and Sports, spoke to MI Radio.
The Ministry of Health and Sports announces daily for the people not to be careless about the infections
Even though there is no local transmission for a month, the COVID-19 situation in our country is only at the ending stage of the first wave, while the other countries are facing the second wave impacts. Most of the confirmed cases are from the returnees. We also thank to all those returnees for following rules and regulations that they have to observe as soon as they have arrived at the airports. In this situation, we always release the news announcements and data analysis on the COVID-19 situation of our country. We only can do to take care of ourselves. People have to stay strong and have to wear masks and do washing often.
There is only 0.8% chance for the local transmission among the patients who have monitored, 0.2% among those who have been in quarantine, and 3% among those who have close contacts with the infected patients, according to the Ministry of Health and Sports. The government has relied mostly on the social restrictions, quarantine, contact tracing, and targeted lockdown to control the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Myanmar has 5 COVID-19 testing centers, 3 of which are in Yangon and the others are in Mandalay and Molamyai. Dawn Nguyen is Region Ludo representative from Alone Township, and she spoke to MI Radio about how they currently help the people to get awareness about the COVID-19.
We collaborate some projects for the people to get awareness about the COVID-19 with the Township COVID-19 Committee. We deliver the reusable cloth masks to the poor people. Many schools and students are familiar with the new normal lifestyles. We also urge the people to follow the rules and regulations as long as the COVID-19 is clear from the world. We have already told that washing hands and wearing masks is not very difficult to do and to follow, but some don't. Even though there is no local transmission, we have to kill the infections. We have seen that many countries in the world are faced with the second wave infections.
The global pandemic has spread to 215 countries, killing over 734,000 people and afflicting over 20 million people, according to the data from the World Media Coronavirus Resource Centers. Till 8 p.m. of 9th August, the Ministry of Health and Sports has tested a total of 125,872 persons. A total of 170 returnees have tested positive for COVID-19. Currently, Myanmar has reported a total of 360 COVID-19 cases with 6 deaths and 312 recoveries at 8 p.m. on 9th August.
That's a report on 87% of all the infected patients on road to recovery. A ceremony to present graduation certificates to scholars from MoFCOM Scholarship for the year 2020 was held at the Economic and Commercial Office of China in Yangon, Myanmar on the 10th of August 2020. Mr. Tan Shu-fu, Economic and Commercial Counselor, conferred the graduation certificates on the scholars, and then he delivered his speech about the MoFCOM Scholarship to the audience. Pyu Thiridu has more.
A ceremony to present graduation certificates to scholars from MoFCOM Scholarship for the year of 2020 was held at the Economic and Commercial Office of China in Yangon, Myanmar on 10 August 2020. Present on the occasion of the graduation ceremony were Mr. Tan Shu-fu, Economic and Commercial Counselor of Chinese Economic and Commercial Office in Yangon, the staff from the Chinese Embassy to Myanmar, and the distinguished guests, the representative scholars and their families. Uneo, the chairman of University of Educational Broadband Service, also attended the ceremony. Mr. Tan Shu-fu, Economic and Commercial Counselor, conferred the graduation certificates on the scholars, and then he delivered his speech about the MoFCOM Scholarship to the audience. Speaking to MI Radio, Mr. Tan Shu-fu mentioned the detailed information about the MoFCOM Scholarship.
Since 2015, scholarships have been offered to Myanmar students. There are over 120 scholars who have graduated with this MOFCOM. Actually, there are 49 scholars who have graduated for this year. Due to the COVID-19, all of these scholars can attend their graduation ceremonies and can receive their graduation certificates. So the Chinese embassy family has celebrated this graduation ceremony for the scholars. Even now, not all of them can take part in the ceremony. Today, here are only 13 representative scholars who study at different universities in China. The scholars who came from different background fields are let them study the different specialization in different universities in China.
Chinese government scholarship supports international students and teachers and students to pursue degrees at all levels of non-degree studies and to conduct research in China. MOFCON scholarship is set up to further strengthen the communication and cooperation between China and other countries, as well as to develop talents for developing countries. Starting from 2019, MOFCON scholarship mainly sponsors the young and middle-aged talents from the recipient countries to pursue their postgraduate degree education in China and entrusts China's Scholarship Council to administer the scholarship. Goye Tenmu is one of the scholars from MOFCON scholarship for the year of 2020, and he shared his experience how he struggled for this scholarship and encouraged the students who are dreaming of winning scholarship and studied abroad.
ဟုတ်ကဲ့စိန်ခေါ်မှုကတော့အစောပိုင်းကာလမှာတော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ဟိုမှာကဘာသာစကားအခက်အခဲပေါ့နော်
I studied the Master of Public Administration MPA at Sun Yat-sen University, which is a major Chinese public research university located in Guangzhou. My scholarship programs took over a year. At first, we had some difficulties in language barriers, but then we were getting along with this. We really struggled for the trainings and thesis. I chose the case related with the Public Account Bill Committee in my graduated thesis, so I hope I can serve and support when I return to my work.
Uni Ok, the chairman of University of Educational Broadband Service, also said.
The
scholars are among the government departments and the private sector as well. The youth from both private and public sectors need to develop simultaneously. The MOFCOM is one of the scholarship programs which provided by the Chinese government for developing countries. In fact, there are hundreds of Myanmar students who are studying more scholarship programs in different universities in China.
That's a report on MOFCOM Scholarship 2020 holding graduation ceremony. The Department of Forests under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Conservation issued an announcement on the 3rd of June stating that the ministry is planning to allow those wishing to breed crocodiles, which are in danger of becoming extinct on a commercial scale. Mintong Okjin, Yanai Laukai, and Swayman have more.
The Department of Forest under the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environmental Conservation issued an announcement on June 3rd stating that the ministry is planning to allow those wishing to breed the crocodiles which are in danger of becoming extinct on a commercial scale. Zoo business for saltwater crocodile species, mega or marsh crocodile species, and Siamese crocodile species will be allowed to display them for the commercial reason. Meat and skin production leather businesses will be allowed as well. The statement said detailed information would be announced later. Those wishing to breed their crocodiles on a commercial scale have to visit Takeda Crocodile Farm and seek the approval from the relevant ministry. If the necessary permissions is obtained, assistance will be provided, said Dr. Myo Min Lai, Deputy Director of Takeda Crocodile Farm.
If local and foreign investors wish to breed the crocodile for commercial reason, they should visit the crocodile farm and observe the nature of the animals. After that, we will meet with the investor and we will give direction to the investor how to write the work proposal. We will carry on the submission of this proposal to the relevant minister through the Director General. Only after the approval is sought from the minister, we will come to know whether the proposal is passed or not. If allowed, our department will help the investor to abide by the rules and regulations regarding the business of breeding crocodiles.
The employees of the crocodile farm said that local and foreign investors are welcome. If the permit to breed the crocodile commercially was obtained, employment would be provided, foreign exchange would be fetched, and crocodile breeding technology would be obtained. U Nao Nao, in charge of incubation run of number 1 crocodile conservation pond, said,
The foreign investor may carry out the crocodile breeding business on a basis of joint venture. Otherwise, the crocodile conservation farm may be bought. If it is run by joint venture, our employees can get job opportunities. If it is run on a commercial scale, it will do good not only for the employees but also for the state.
U Tain Luen, the crocodile analyst of number 3 crocodile conservation pond of Takeda, said,
If the crocodile farm is privatized, it will be the best. If crocodile experts have to be hired, it will be beneficial to the country of Myanmar. When it is privatized, job opportunities will appear. It will be good if the crocodiles are bred in other places. If it is run on a commercial scale, it will be profitable.
To carry out the business of breeding the crocodiles on a commercial scale, it is required to search the plot of land, to seek the approval from the relevant regional government, to get the permission from the Myanmar Investment Commission, and to have breeding technology and leather manufacturing technology. It is also necessary to externally sell the crocodiles. It is ready to sell the crocodiles to breeding enthusiasts in line with the rules and regulations, said Dr. Myomin.
If an entrepreneur wishes to buy and breed the crocodiles privately, we sell the crocodiles after the permission from the relevant minister through the in-charge director of breeding division according to our explanation. Please state the number of crocodiles wanted to buy. The ministry has to fix the price for the crocodiles. Those wishing to breed the crocodiles must follow the rules released by the ministry. If the permission was obtained, we would sell the crocodiles.
Takeda Crocodile Farm was established by Myanmar Fisheries in 1978. In 1994 to 1995 fiscal year, it was run in cooperation with the Department of Fisheries in the process of conserving the crocodiles. On 6 November in 1997, Takeda Crocodile Farm was transformed into a recreation camp and opened to the public.
That's a report on MoNREC to help those wishing to breed crocodiles on commercial scale. That's all with the reports on Myanmar Today. Now let's move on to international news here on Myanmar Today. U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday afternoon was temporarily escorted by a Secret Service agent from an ongoing coronavirus briefing after a shooting was reported outside the White House. The president said after he returned to the White House briefing room minutes later, quote, "There was an actual shooting and somebody has been taken to the hospital. I don't know the condition of the person," unquote. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and Office of Management and Budget Director Russ Vought were also taken out of the room and the doors were locked. No one else was injured, according to the president, adding that he was taken to the Oval Office when he was evacuated. The World Health Organization will ship $1.7 million worth of personal protective equipment and humanitarian supplies to Lebanon following last week's deadly blast that left 158 people dead and more than 6,000 others injured. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom made the announcement on Tuesday at a media briefing where he reiterated the agency's solidarity of the Lebanon. Tedros said, quote, "We are also mitigating the COVID-19 impact, addressing psychosocial needs and facilitating the rapid restoration of the damaged health facilities," unquote. Malaysia and Singapore have begun to accept border crossing applications again after months of closure. Before the pandemic, over 300,000 people commuted between the two countries to work every day, but that stopped in March when the borders were closed. Applicants that are accepted can begin traveling within a week.
Malaysia and Singapore have begun to accept border crossing applications again after months of closure. Before the pandemic, over 300,000 people commuted between the two countries to work every day. But that stopped in March when the borders were closed. Applicants that are accepted can begin traveling within a week.
A major gas explosion completely destroyed 3 row houses in Baltimore on Monday, killing a woman, injuring several other people, and trapping at least 1 person in the wreckage, firefighters said. At least 3 dozen firefighters converged on the disaster scene where the natural gas explosion reduced to the homes to piles of rubble and pieces of debris. A 4th house in the row was partly destroyed and the neighborhood was strewn with glass from shattered windows. 2 of the home's occupants were taken to hospitals in serious condition, while an adult woman was pronounced dead at the scene, the fire department tweeted. And that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me on Myanmar Today. I am Aga Cho. Have a great day, everyone. Stay home, stay safe. I'll see you again. Goodbye.